do you have any like things to say specifically about editing comedy? Because it's really hard to find a good comedy editor, and I really do consider you that guy who's a great one.
That's really nice. You know, I think the key of it is I don't think about it as comedy. I think of it all as drama, and everything is tension. Comedy and thriller. This is actually what Norm told me, because when I got People of Earth, I wasn't like that high up the food chain really in editing. And he called and he had seen a couple of things. I asked him, like, why did you hire me? He said, you answered a good question about like blah, blah, blah. You seem like a good person to hang around with. And he says, I've seen your horror and thriller work. And he said, you're really good with tension. You know how to space that time out and make it count. And he said, that translates to comedy editing for me. And and so it was really him being able to see the similarities between the two worlds. And one of the things that I do is that, and I like that timing and the in-between and where it's uncomfortable. And comedy is all about that. So it kind of fits in the same model, but I treat both like drama. I treat them like it's serious. I don't do punchlines. I do like, I like doing like, oh, that was funny and it slipped right by you. It's a little wry and that was funny and that was funny. And then this is when you really laugh. So I don't try and hit each joke as a run. I try and go, let's build it to something because the point of the scene is this, and this is where this character's at. And you should feel that about this character. And so you build the jokes into the performance, not as jokes, but through a character. And so that ends up being a little bit more of a key in how you find out who they are. So say, you know, Brian Husky, who's like really like up and an improv master, you kind of go with him and you find these things that are spontaneous. And a lot of times I'll cut, like I did just recently on this show with Chris Rock. Chris Rock came in and kind of improvised a whole scene. And it was wonderful because I was watching him do it like he was building a stand-up routine. And you could see in his head when he'd call like actual cut, like, oh, back to one second, go back. And I went, oh, that was good. Boom, back again. And he'd sort of start to build this whole thing, this thread. And, you know, we just sort of shot it in like handheld and really trying to just get everything that we could from him and go take after take in series. And I would start to like piece it together. And it's really that instinctual initial impression where you go, oh, that's funny. And you know what? It's funnier the first time. It was a spontaneous thing. But the next one after that should be a little bit more polished. So I'll take 4 from there. And I'll piece that together with this. And then here's another spontaneous one. And here's where he kind of moves his head and looks weird. And I'm like, oh, that's a kind of a cool character moment. And that's ambiguous. And so you'll start to build and create with like things that are a little bit unsettled, but ultimately are funnier in my opinion. So then you kind of just go and sort of have that feel. And then you kind of go, okay, what's his pattern like? Is his pattern, his rhythm? Oh, let's tighten this up. So let's like make him like the smartest, fastest, coolest guy. So then you just like squeeze it down. And then that's the energy for Chris Rock playing this particular person. Now the energy for Brian Husky will be different, or the energy for another person will be different. And you'll use what they do and how they build their character to frame things. Like Husky will do all those things and then he'll be really serious at one moment. And I'll be like, I'm taking that serious thing because that makes that next thing funnier to me. And then ultimately you hope that other people like enjoy that same sense of humor. And you know, you make it a little bit weird, you play with the time a little bit, you squeeze it, you open it, you know, so you just get like a little bit of you try and make it like natural and authentic, but comedy just a little bit smarter, you know, like that it's hard to come up with that many things that quickly. So you tighten moments so it just feels like it flowed. And so that, you know, that's kind of, and it's the same with horror. Like you do the same thing in thriller. In a drama, you do the same thing too. Just it's really finding your route to what the scene's about through character. I think that's my approach generally.